call this meeting to order on this day, Monday, April 27th, 2015. Clerk Kornecki, could you please call the roll for us tonight?
Trustee Aiello?
Here.
Trustee Wolfus?
Here.
Trustee Taglia?
Here.
Trustee Case?
Here.
Trustee Wagner?
Here.
President Bullwinkle?
Here. You'd all please rise for the pledge. I'll lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask you all to remain standing for just one more second. We've got Trustee Wagner like to lead us in prayer tonight. So.
Thank you, Madam President. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the residents, staff, businesses, surrounding communities, and all those that enter the village of Villa Park, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Okay. We're following an agenda that if those of you in the audience have not picked up an agenda, it's in the rack right outside of our chamber here on the door. So with that, item number 3 is amendments of the COW agenda. Anybody on the board have any amendments to the COW? Committee of the Whole? No? Okay then, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Chapter 15 of the Municipal Code regards to native plantings. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. Native plantings are considered beneficial to the environment due to the decreased use of pesticides, fertilizers, and watering. The village currently allows homeowners to have native plantings that exceed 6 inches if they are in a defined and tented bed. At the direction of the village board, staff has crafted an ordinance to address the utilization of whole yard native plantings. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. I know staff has worked pretty hard on collecting all the feedback. We've been talking about this for a while and putting it into an ordinance, and looking at Patrick Grill, our Director of Community Development. If you'd like to come up and say anything first, maybe a brief overview of what kind of where we've landed so far with this proposed ordinance, and then we'll open it up from there.
Yes, in your packet you do have a draft ordinance that is on the formal agenda tonight for a first reading. Staff has tried to incorporate information that we've gleaned from a variety of communities that have these types of ordinances. And at your direction, we have crafted an ordinance that allows the use of native plantings in people's entire yard if they so wish. Staff put into the ordinance that the particular homeowner who wishes to do a native landscaping in their yard present to the community development director a plan of what is to be included, provided that there are no species included on that landscape plan that are identified as noxious weeds in our current ordinance. I would approve that plan. They would be required to put a sign up. They would be required to have a certified, it says certified arborist in the ordinance. Actually, it really needs to say certified landscape architect each year to verify that there are no noxious weeds that have found themselves to be included in the yard. They would also be required to cut back their native landscapings once a year in the fall and spring. And with that, I will be happy to answer any questions that the board may have on this item.
Okay. Actually, we'll open it up to questions and comments from the public first. Anybody has any questions about this? An item that we've talked about quite a bit. So now's your chance. Yes, of course. Now's a good time.
Ben Calvert. I'm 31 North Harvard Avenue. And I do appreciate the time that the board has given this village staff to work on this ordinance. I appreciate the time that you've had to listen to the public's comments as well as my own, as opinionated as it may be. I did have a chance to read over the ordinance, which I appreciate the opportunity. I did have some concerns, and I don't know if, should I go through the list or?
We can give you, well, 3 minutes, so we're kind of,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
very good.
so maybe highlight
So,
the key ones, and then we'll do what we can here.
The key ones. So in putting forth a plan to Patrick Grill, I'm wondering if that's an effective thing, because later in the ordinance it says that they're not qualified to evaluate someone's yard. So there's a circular qualification there, because they're saying that they're not qualified, and that's why the homeowner has to get certification from an horticulturalist or landscape architect. And at the same time, and they're saying that your plan has to be approved by the people that aren't qualified. So I'm a little confused with that.
Maybe staff can give us some insight on that. What you want to get through, I'll hold you off for just a second in case there's some others
Sure.
too for staff. Thank you.
The
Director Rowe.
invasives really should be a concern of the whole community, and that should be a section under noxious nuisance weeds. And so I don't think it's specific to native planting areas. It's specific, it encompasses the whole village. Everybody should be concerned about noxious weeds and invasive species. And so if you're putting that into the code, it should be under nuisance clause where it affects the whole village. The sign, some of these things, the costs start adding up to the homeowner. So you have to get the plan. When you submit a plan, is there going to be a fee for that? When you have to get a sign created, what's going to be the cost for that? If you do keep an annual inspection, what is the cost? And is this becoming an undue burden for the homeowner? That was a concern. In section F, I'm wondering if the fire department is competitively priced. There are organizations out there that in the commercial environment where you can hire someone to do a prescription burn. They are certified by the states, they have insurance coverage, and they do have to notify the fire department that they're doing a burn. They also have to notify the surrounding homeowners so that they know what's going on. So those are the basic ones.
Okay. All
So
right.
there's a little more, but thank you for your time.
Okay, great. As long as we get to the big highlight ones
Yes,
that
those are
were
big ones.
your biggest concerns. Okay. And Patrick, yeah, if you can address some of those while they're still on the grill here.
Actually, a lot of the concerns do come back to cost. Staff was concerned about requiring a homeowner to get to hire a landscape architect to prepare the plan to submit for my review. Staff thought that actually might have been a little onerous on a homeowner. What we're concerned about is that there's not any noxious weeds as identified in our code in their plantings. So long, and I'm certainly qualified enough to look at a landscape plan to see whether or not there are any noxious plants included in that landscape plan. Doesn't need to be prepared by a landscape architect not to include, noxious plants. However, the annual inspection of somebody's yard would be beyond my capacity. That's why we ask that a landscape architect review each year that the yard still is compliant with the plan that was approved and doesn't have any noxious weeds. In terms of the cost of the sign, it's going to be whatever it costs our Public Works Department to prepare that sign. Unfortunately, I don't have that number in front of me tonight, but I certainly can get that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So,
We'll get that.
But
We're not talking thousands of dollars.
No, no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
nothing, it would just so it's not going to
No.
be outrageous like that.
And then in terms of the controlled burn, that's only one method of cutting. You can choose to just cut it. You're not required to do the burn. In fact, I'm a little leery of somebody being required to have to burn their yard each year. And certainly if they can do it in another manner that is maybe not quite so dangerous. That's to be encouraged, I think. But anytime you have native landscaping, burning is a typical way to do on an annual basis to make sure that it comes back stronger and things like that. So.
Well, we would definitely want that somehow supervised, because those can get out of control pretty fast. So there was just a situation in another municipality recently where there was a much bigger control burn, but it got really close to the other homes that were right there in that area.
And certainly, if a homeowner wants to hire a company that can do that, our fire department can just confer with that company just to make sure that they're taking all the necessary precautions and things like that.
Okay.
Again, I mean, we don't have this in place currently right now. It will be a work in progress, so.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's all new to us still, even after all these conversations, so we're all still learning. Okay, anybody else from the public have any questions? Sure, come on up. What you'll need to do is state your name for the record. Yeah.
Okay.
State your name for the record, and then we'll need you to sign your name on the piece of paper there.
Okay.
There should be a
My name
copy.
is Shannon Carroll,
Okay.
and I am a resident of Villa Park. And I have native plantings in my yard. I do not have the whole front yard, but the way that this code is written, it seems to me that there's an assumption that native plantings contain invasives, which is not the case. And I think that the village code that we have in place now for plantings that you can't put in your yard because they're invasive should cover if you choose to do more native plantings. And I think there might be cheaper things than a landscape architect, like a horticulturist or somebody else that you could use to certify that your yard doesn't have any of those invasives.
Okay.
I think or possibly doing it every 3 years or something. That seems like that's, if you're wanting to do something for your home to help eliminate runoff into the water table and save the gasoline fumes in the environment and, cut down on your water in your yard, to plant more natives is a good thing. And to make it more expensive than having grass would prohibit a lot of people from doing it.
All right, great, thank you. Anybody else from the public before we toss it up to the board? Come on up. I need you to state your name for the record. You're gonna need your autograph there on that piece of paper, and
My name's
Give you 3
Gail
minutes.
Upoff. Oops, sorry.
it's probably even better. It was looking a little tight there.
I live on Monterey in Villa Park. I'm a fairly new resident. I am a member of the Villa Park Gardening Club. That's where I met Ben. I see Villa Park is the garden village, and I was wondering why there hasn't been more interest in this, because I am also a master gardener and think that natives are really coming back. They're really useful. They're healthy for the environment, and I think the village should take quite an interest in it. I am in agreement with not having to have an architect. There are people who have been gardening for years, who are master gardeners through the U of I extension. Any number of people could make plantings without having to get an architect. That would be very nice for their yard and for better than some people have. Plus, I was wondering how you're going to control this, because I know there are people in the village who have a lot of native plants who haven't had to go through an architect or through the board or anything done. I don't know, has there been a problem with it in the past?
Well, I know that, sometimes enforcement can be an issue. And so we know there are folks out there that know what to do and what they're doing, and then there's others that don't. So we kind of have that and a whole, wrestling with the aesthetics side of it, and so what's natural, what's a weed, what's not, and so sometimes those lines I think get crossed. But I see Patrick Grill from
Well, the main issue is the fact that our code says that nothing can grow higher than 6 inches. And what we have allowed is native plantings. If they're in defined beds and they're tended, we haven't considered that to be a nuisance. But if you're going to, Well, and so that's why we're where we're at. You know, we don't want, the reason for the sign and the reason, we're actually also going to put everyone who applies, put it on our website too, so that people know that it's not that yard that it's not being tended, it's because it's a native landscape yard, because that would be the criticism, hey, that person's not cutting his yard. So we just wanted to make it clear that the reason the yard might look like that is because it's a native planting area.
Yeah, 'cause not everybody would know that. Not everybody. Unfortunately, not everybody's a master gardener. But so, I need you to come back up to the mic. Yeah, we need to catch you on the mic so the folks at home can hear you too.
How did Villa Park become the Garden Village?
Oh, it was many, many years ago. Does anybody happen to know the history behind that? So,
No, I wasn't born yet.
yeah, that was.
Well, see, and
I'm presuming over 100 years ago now.
And
Since
I'll
we,
bet back then a lot of
Just
people's
101.
yards had a lot of native plants in
Not sure
them.
what the history is on that.
So, you know, when did this become such an issue?
Well, you know, we've developed over the years and have gone from a lot of open space to, you know, a developed community. So,
All right.
and, you know, it's tricky because we know there are a lot of people out there that have great green thumbs and they mean well, but then it does kind of get out of control. So, you know, we get a lot of complaints about the aesthetics in Villa Park. And so we just, you know, there has to be some meeting of the minds if we put an ordinance like this on the books. So we have a kind of a place where we know where we're going and people understand what they're supposed to do and we all kind of,
Right now, I guess,
So-
because I'm new to all this.
yeah, and I think the manager wants to say something really quick though.
Oh,
Did you want to respond to that? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I don't think there's really an issue. Right now, we have the ability to have native plantings in a yard. However, this ordinance addresses the utilization of the entire yard, so it's significantly different than what we have now. And it goes back to what President Bullwinkle mentioned about aesthetics, and the citizens may not recognize an entire yard that's native plantings and might actually think that that yard's not being mowed, which then would cause tremendous amounts of phone calls to community development.
It does now.
So, thank you,
Well,
Your
there
Honor.
aren't many plants, they're only 6 inches, so I don't know how that everyone knew.
Yeah, yeah, but, so,
Okay,
yeah, it's just
thank
that
you.
finding that balance, you know,
Who looks
it's tricky.
into problems now, like if somebody gets the call?
Community development, and we have 2 code enforcers that cover the whole town, so.
And what
They're busy.
happens, what do they do exactly?
Well, Patrick, do you want to answer that really quick? I know. It's a loaded question, but there's a lot to
It
it
is.
with
They,
that.
they
With
enforce
that
the
side of
adopted
it.
codes of the village.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it's, yeah.
Are you familiar with the village code?
Oh, Patrick,
You need to
I'm
speak
sorry,
this
yeah, we
way.
need you.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
The village
people at
code
home
is
can
a
hear it, too.
voluminous article, and those 2 code enforcement officers are required to enforce everything that is on the books as it relates to property maintenance.
This is it.
So,
Yeah,
it's
for your reading
quite
pleasure.
a task, and a lot of our work volume comes from the residents who, through their eyes, were able to get information on people who may not be meeting the code. So they call, they say, hey, you know, that particular yard hasn't been cut in over 2 weeks. Go out there, sure enough, grass is 12 inches high. Get them to notice them that their grass is too high and that they need to cut it. And then if they don't, then we have to issue citations. So,
And then is that a fine?
Yes.
Yes.
Fines. Yes, fines. You get violation warnings and then
fines.
yeah, you have a certain amount of time to fix whatever the issue is and then, yes, fines, so, yes. Okay, don't go too far, Patrick. We're still, anybody, hold on just a second. Anybody else from the public before I circle back to you, Ben? Anybody? Okay, then one more thing and then we'll toss it up here.
I'd like to know how many other programs that are required for citizens to be put on a registry on the website.
I don't know the answer to that. Staff or anybody?
Oh, Patrick wants to address.
Oh, Patrick?
I'm not aware of any that are required to be put on a website. Staff just thinks that that's a good idea just for the general public, that on our website, there's a list of homes that are, have been submitted plans for native landscaping.
Right.
So if people are looking for information, we try to put as much information on the website as we can. This is just another component to that.
And for folks that maybe are wondering if that's a native
If
landscape,
it's just a
basically,
yard that's
that
not
may-
being tended, or if it's a
Right.
native landscape yard, correct.
Okay, okay.
I do know one, and those are sex offenders. And I beg to differ that native landscaping properties would be associated with that, so.
Well, I don't think anybody anywhere is associating that with that. I
Yeah,
mean,
but there's no other
But-
programs, so.
but, I mean,
that's
that's
the
a
first
totally
one that
different.
comes to my
But,
mind.
yeah, but totally different, that is a totally different animal, so.
Yes, they are two totally different
yeah,
animals, and
but-
I don't agree with putting
But,
the website as a requirement
right, I
for
hear you there.
homeowners.
But, Mr. Calvert, just so you know how to do native landscape.
Yes.
We know you know what you're doing, but there might be somebody else out there that would like to dabble in this. They don't understand what it's about. So there's an educational component too. And maybe folks that are doing the native landscaping now, like yourself, or, you know, others that would like to do more, can learn from each other too, you know. But, you know, we as a village and as a board, we have to look at the whole town as a whole. And we can't presume everybody knows what they're doing, because they don't.
And I would invite all of those folks to
But they
come
can
to
learn.
a Villa Park Garden Club and learn through that, or go to
Absolutely.
COD and learn
Yep.
through that. There's many avenues.
Can I
Yep.
ask you a question?
Well, now if we're done with public participation, okay, now we'll bounce it up here. Okay, trustee Case.
Are you, don't take this the wrong way, I'm not trying to be a smart
we
guy
don't wanna
about
go
it.
back and
Are you-
forth, but-
Are you qualified to do this? To go around and look at somebody's and see if they're,
No, I am not certified as a city inspector. I am
well, I'm not saying
That's
city
not what he's-
inspector,
that's
but
not
I'm
what
saying, are
he's-
you,
Do you know
you're
which
knowledgeable
plants?
enough for native
Master
planting?
gardener?
You're a master
I am
gardener?
not a master gardener, although that is a life goal.
Okay,
I have a liberal arts education, and I continue to try and improve my life. This is a
Right.
project and a step in that.
okay, but you know enough about it.
I do know
Where you
enough
could go to
about-
somebody's house and you could inspect it for them and say, yes, you're good. You're
Yes.
not,
Yeah,
okay.
there are many tools. If you go to the Department of Natural Resources of Illinois, they have a listing of the invasive species, and they have pictures there as well.
Okay.
So that, and people have
I
smartphones these
understand
days.
that. I'm just trying to
I
get
can
you guys
utilize
going
that.
on this.
Yeah.
If you were to set up your own little committee,
Yeah,
okay, where people want it, then they contact you people instead of doing,
sure, that's a community service, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that we could arrange something of that nature.
okay.
Yes.
I would see that happen real easy, so.
Yeah, I'm into community service. I help clean the prairie path
I mean,
on
we had committees-
Saturday
Well, you're in the
mornings.
garden club.
And I'm in the garden
There's
club.
a number of master gardeners.
So if they wanna, if somebody
Garden
wants to
club.
get something going like this, they contact the garden club and they move from there.
Yes.
And it's gotta go through the village though, first, you know.
Right. Right.
But we know, we trust you, and I think we should just move on with this, and you guys set up a committee, or,
So, yeah, we're
Thank
okay.
you for your time.
Yeah, yeah, so, okay, anybody else from the board? Okay, trustee Taglier.
Okay, in listening to the residents and their concerns, I would just think we should not list the residents on the website. I think it'd be smart for the village to keep an internal list so that if there are calls and complaints, the village could check our own database and say, Ben's good, he's on the list. But I do agree, the internet can be an ugly place. So I'm not in favor of listing the residents on the website. I think that's something that infringes on our privacy. Also, I think it makes sense to use a horticulturalist or a master gardener. I hear landscape architect, that sounds very expensive. I know at this point we don't have numbers, but that's something we should definitely see, is what is the cost as written, and which things can we modify to make this more doable and less onerous for the homeowners. And like the lady said, I'm sorry, I forget. Gail says, remove the invasives from this ordinance, because we have an ordinance that already prohibits these types of weeds and invasive species, so, that's, what are my thoughts on that?
Okay, great. Anybody else? Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, Madam President. I just have a couple of questions about wording in this draft ordinance. In Section 1, subsection A, native plantings are permitted to be used as whole ground cover within the front or rear yard of single-family homes. Is that meant to say either or should it be and rear yard of single-family homes? And or. Okay.
I know we talked about both, so, okay.
The other question I have is for the community development director to review or approve the plan, is there going to be a permit fee for that?
He's saying no,
No. Okay.
no permit fee.
And you know, my thoughts are similar to what the residents have said, and what Trustee Taglia said. You know, a landscape architect could be pretty pricey. You know, we could utilize people in town, like the garden club where they have master gardeners, or there are, I think we've mentioned a group called the Wild Ones. They have people who are well-trained in this, so I'd like to make it, and just the fact that you have to do this every year, if you have to go to a landscape architect every year, it could be very expensive, and it almost seems like we're saying this is a good thing, but we're gonna put these obstacles in your way. So I'd like to see that change to a master gardener or someone qualified, you know. And that's all I have.
Specific to the garden club or the Wild Ones or Conservation
Someone- yeah,
Foundation, we talked about too
exactly,
at one
right.
time. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Trustee Aiello?
I was against this ordinance, not because I'm against the plantings, native plantings. I'm not even necessarily against the invasive species, but I guess I'll mildly be against the invasive species.
Does community development want to transfer all the calls to
But I think that,
Trustee Aiello?
more importantly, the
Just kidding.
people that are interested in this, master gardeners, people who are into gardening, I'm a very amateur gardener. You can ask my wife; she tells me all the time how bad I am at it. She won't eat my food. There's debate just among the few people that are here on how we should do this. I think we should table this at best, if not get rid of it, and go back to let's just restrict invasive species and leave it at that. But at the very least, I think we need to table this and get a little better organized with what this is supposed to do. That's all I have.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Trustee Volpes.
This just got a whole lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be when I
Yeah.
walked in the room today.
Who knew?
So,
Plants.
This ordinance just applies to somebody who wants to do their whole front yard or rear yard. Not to people who are gonna have native plantings yet in defined beds, correct? Am I interpreting that correctly? So, I don't see there's gonna be a whole lot of people doing this. I don't think this is ready yet to move forward. We have to define who's gonna do this and who's gonna do the inspections. That has to be ironed out. The proper wording, I would recommend that Patrick gets together with some of you, Gail, and see if we can get some wording and what the cost would be. Now, our other goal was we don't want to increase any extra costs to the village. Unfortunately, then that would have to be shifted over to the people who actually want to do this. But the village doesn't want to incur any additional cost. So, and as far as your comment on the burn, if I was living next door, I'd be a little upset or nervous if the fire department wasn't close by, you know? So
We have issues
that
with
can
fire
be worked
pits.
out too.
Even.
I don't see many people in town on a 50 by 150 lot doing a burn. I just don't see that happening. You know, you'll be cutting it down. But, you know, there are some large lots in town, on the south side especially, or they're double, triple lot sizes, so they could possibly have a burn. But they, you know, that, there has to be somebody covering the expense on that. The village, like I said, we don't not want to incur any additional expenses. A couple other little changes I saw in this ordinance besides the annual inspection. I noticed that on section E, the sign says that the resident is supposed to pay for it, whereas in section F, about the fire department, the homeowner has to pay for the expense. Now, probably there is a technical difference between homeowner and resident. Should that be the same for, should it be either homeowner or resident? Probably should be homeowner and not resident. So that needs to be changed. And the other one is in section 1C, where it does refer to the inspection, it doesn't even say in there at all who's paying for the inspection, which should then be either the resident or the homeowner. Again, I think it'd probably be the homeowner. But it should stipulate that in there, because right now it just doesn't say who's paying for it. So, but I think this has to go back to community development, let them iron out some of these little kinks, specifically on who's doing the inspections. So, you know, we don't want to be a real heavy burden on the resident to have to come up with the money to do all this. So, I don't think it's ready for prime time yet. Okay, that's it.
Okay, yeah, I agree. There's still some open-ended questions. One of my questions, and I'm looking at Patrick Grill, our Director of Community Development, did we reach back out to the Conservation Foundation? We had them out here a couple months ago, maybe longer than that, trying to solicit some advice from them. Did we reach out back to them and maybe work with them on this before it made it up?
They were not pleased in having the homeowner come up with a plan and submit it to the village. And they certainly didn't want to be imposed upon or put in a position where the village would require them to come and do something.
Okay.
So,
All right. You know, we've got a variety of different resources out there to help us kind of shore this up. You know, we've got the Garden Club, Conservation Foundation. I think some of this might even be kind of taken from Lombard, I believe. We saw that, or maybe another municipality. So I know there's been some research reaching out to other municipalities, but we'll want to maybe do a little more research and maybe reach back out to Conservation Foundation, for example, and see if they have any other input that they'd like to add. Maybe even pick the brains of the Garden Club and other folks too that maybe, and also maybe reach back out to Lombard and find out if they do a registry. You know, I don't know. Whatever.
Madam President?
Board probably doesn't think that's a good idea, and I keep it simple, tend to agree, as long as we can keep track of it. This is an example. Yeah, trustee.
Sorry, Madam
That's
President.
okay. Yeah, go for it. We're talking.
Want to make sure that whoever we do pick, it's an entity that will be there no matter what. So Conservation Foundation, maybe it's been there a long time, might not exist in the future. Garden Club exists now, might not exist in the future. You know, Patrick, if Patrick's qualified to do the work,
Stick around.
Patrick's going to die someday. I'm sorry to kill you off so early, but someday he's going to. So even if
We're
he
all
has
kind
the
of heading in
ability,
that direction.
long term, someone we've got to have somebody there, a definition that can be used without having to amend the ordinance every time the director passes.
Not that we expect you to go anywhere anytime soon. Wow.
One more.
So, yeah, I know. Well, kind of sort of talking about daisies here a little bit, maybe.
try to
Trustee
make it
Case.
I'd like to see us put a deadline on this thing, get it over once and for all.
Well, that's, yeah.
I mean, like,
I mean, there's clearly still, I mean, this is
before
a
winter
work in-
comes,
Yep, this is clearly still a work in progress, but we're a little closer than we were before, but still a couple more. We have at least one more round to go, so. Anything else the board would like to add before, okay, then we need to, sounds like we're all in concert with tabling.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
do we table a COW item, or do we just send it back to staff?
Send it back to staff.
We'll just
and
send it-
table it when it's on staff.
Okay, we're gonna send it back to staff then. And then we'll table it when we get to the formals. Okay, make sure we're good. Okay. We're getting there, it's all new, so. Okay, now with that, we'll move on to item number 5 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a local agency agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation, known as IDOT, for construction and construction engineering services for the Ardmore Avenue Streetscape project. Andrew Keener.
Thanks, Rhonda. The village will be receiving an Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant to provide funding for streetscape improvements on North Ardmore Avenue. A local agency agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation proposes to provide $821,757 in federal funding for construction and Phase 3 engineering. The project is ready for bidding. The Phase 3 engineering agreement that details the scope of services will be considered separately. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Anybody? Nope. Come on up. You know the drill. State your name for the record. 3
Good
minutes.
evening,
We need
Annette.
you to sign on the paper.
Alex
too,
King,
so.
140 West St. Charles Road, in our fine village. I would like maybe a 45-second refreshment on exactly the area this is going to be and what the ideas are. And I know it's been talked about for a long time. If we could update that, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. Can do that. Would you like to do it now, or?
Absolutely. I think Director Giskelis would like to update it.
Okay.
We'll give him
Cover that
45
now.
seconds.
There's lots attached to this, so. It's finally here.
Okay, generally the project limits are on Ardmore Avenue from North Avenue to the Union Pacific Railroad crossing. The proposed improvements include decorative pedestrian lighting throughout the corridor, wayfinding signage, enhanced landscaping, some sidewalk replacement, and parallel parking near the future stationary development. And that part's not grant eligible.
Okay.
But it's pedestrian lighting primarily is the lighting.
Okay. And then there are also going to be benches and.
Right, there's going to be
seatings.
some streetscape furniture as well.
Seating and things of that nature.
The areas of concentration are going to be the north and the south end. In between, it's going to be primarily just the lighting. So all the furniture is going to be at the two ends,
Right.
and there'll be entrances that, that define the area.
Like a gateway type of
Right.
thing.
The whole concept originated with the station area plan done many years ago.
Yes.
Well, not that long ago, it just seems that long ago.
It is pretty long ago, actually. Feels a long time. Okay, great. Okay, don't go too far. Anybody else from the public? Any questions about this? Okay, we're going to toss it up to the board. Anybody from the board? Who's been on the docket a long time? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes. Okay, item number 6 on the Committee of the Whole. Consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a construction engineering services agreement with V3 Companies of Illinois Limited to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services for the Ardmore Avenue Streetscape project. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village will be receiving an Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program grant that will provide federal funding for streetscape improvements on North Ardmore Avenue. V3 Companies has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 3 construction engineering services to the village at a cost of $157,606.08. The Illinois Department of Transportation has reviewed and approved the scope of services. Funding sources for the project include the grant, North Avenue TIF, Ardmore TIF, and the Street Improvement Fund. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Anybody? Okay. How about from the board? I just have a quick question in terms of the timeline. Since we're getting very close to starting this project, what are we looking at in terms of construction and plantings and all that kind of stuff? When do we think we can?
Well, the construction project will be in the IDOT bulletin early in May with the letting in June.
Okay.
And typically, it takes IDOT about 60 days to execute contracts in July, so probably late summer is when this project would actually begin construction.
Late August, early fall.
Yes.
Okay, great. We'll give residents plenty of notice too, because there's going to be a lot of activity.
And I anticipate a public information meeting
Yeah.
for a project of this
For sure,
scope.
at this magnitude. It's $900,000, so, that we got. So. Okay, anybody else? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Bowen.
Yes. Okay, item number 7 on the committee of the whole. Consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the village and School District 45 for classrooms at the Iowa Community Center in the amount of $26,000. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. School District 45 would like to renew the lease for the lease of 2 classrooms at the Iowa Community Center during the 2015-2016 school year. Staff recommends that the village enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Board of Education for School District 45 to lease 2 classrooms at the Iowa Community Center for the 2015-16 school year for $13,000 per classroom. 4 sections of the early childhood special education program will be housed in these classrooms. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Anybody? Okay. Questions and comments from the board? No? Okay. Roll call vote.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
President Bowen.
Yes. Okay. Item number 8 on the committee of the whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing change order number 2, which is final, to the contract between the village and Builders Paving LLC, doing business as Hardin Paving Services for the 2014 pavement patching and resurfacing program. Manager Keener, some more good news coming out of
Yes,
this.
thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
The village has a contract with Builders Paving LLC, doing business as Hardin Paving Services of Hillside, Illinois, for the 2014 pavement patching and resurfacing program. Proposed final change order number 2 consists of the final balancing of contract quantities as measured in the field. The net amount of this proposed final change order number 2 is a deduction of $17,138.70 for a revised final contract amount of $384,916.30. Because this change order is for an open project, staff is requesting formal action also this evening. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay. Questions and comments from the board? Anybody? No? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
President Bowen.
Yes. Okay. Item number 9. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a preliminary engineering services agreement between the village and V3 Companies of Illinois Limited, St. Charles Road Bridge Rehabilitation Project. Manager Keenan?
Thank you, Your Honor. The St. Charles Road Bridge over Salt Creek will require major rehabilitation within the next 5 years. The village has secured an 80%, $223,024 Surface Transportation Program Bridge Program grant funding to provide 80% federal funding for Phase 1 engineering of the project. V3 Consultants has submitted a proposal to provide Phase 1 engineering at a cost not to exceed $278,775.42. Work would not commence until IDOT issues a notice to proceed. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Anybody? Okay. Questions and comments from the board? Okay. When this gets underway, we'll give lots of notice, because this will probably be akin to the traffic snarl-ups that we had on North Avenue last year when the bridge was being reconstructed then. So it's going to require a lot of patience when it hits. So, all right. Roll call vote.
Trustee Aiello.
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
Trustee Taglia.
Yes.
President Bowen.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 10. Consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a contract with John Neary Construction Company Incorporated of Addison, Illinois, for the 2015 North Avenue Townhomes Lift Station Project. Manager Keener?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village proposes a replacement of the existing sanitary sewer lift station, which serves the North Avenue townhomes. This work is to be partially funded through a community development block grant administered by DuPage County. Village staff publicly bid the project with 2 contractors submitting bids. John Neary Construction Company, Inc. of Addison, Illinois, submitted the lowest responsible bid in the amount of $529,690. Because this project is grant funded and the grant has a deadline for completion, staff is also requesting formal action this evening, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Questions and comments from the public in regards to this item? Anybody? Okay, questions and comments from the board? Trustee Wagner?
So once this lift station is put in place, would the village have ownership of it, and would we be responsible for maintaining it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
I have a question.
Trustee Bolfus?
We've hired John Neary Company in the past to do water lines and do sewer lines. Do they have any experience in doing lift stations? Okay, just wanted to make sure, because I haven't seen them do anything like that around here, so, thank you.
Venus Juskalis, our Director of Public Works, indicated yes. So, yes. Wouldn't see that on TV, but we saw it here. Okay, anybody else from the board? Trustee Aiello?
And my recollection was we were gonna take a lien back on this. Are we still taking a lien back on this? Is this the same thing? We're gonna lien that, the properties that this lift station serves over there?
Thank you, Your
What do we call them?
Honor. Actually, we've leaned the properties all along when the 2 pumps within the lift station have failed, and we have went on scene and repaired the pumps, and we've taken the cost and divided amongst all the townhomes, et cetera. And we do have liens on those particular properties. And it's my understanding that the homeowners association, or condo owners association, is working with an attorney to help recoup those costs for us. But with the project, it was part of the grant that we take ownership. Okay.
Grant.
Okay.
Sorry, the grant funding eliminates the need to do the leaning, anyway.
That's correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Abstain.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes?
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bowinkle?
Yes.
For the record,
Yes.
Trustee Taglia considers his friendship with the entity giving him a conflict of interest. So for the record, it's for you, Madam Chair, to recognize it.
Okay.
Right?
Well, we recognized it.
Right, so his vote does not go with the majority.
Right. Okay. Still went through though.
Yeah, right.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Okay, moving on to item number 11 on the COW. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract for the 2015 pavement patching and resurfacing program with Builders Pavers LLC. Manager Keenan?
Thank you, Your Honor. The village proposes the completion of pavement patching on various streets as part of the 2015 pavement patching program. In 2014, Builders Paving LLC, doing business as Hardin Paving Services of Hillside, was awarded a contract for the 2014 pavement patching and resurfacing program. As part of the 2014 program, unit prices were submitted for years 2014, 2015, and 2016. Staff is requesting that the board waive the requirements of competitive bidding and award a contract to Builder Paving in the amount of $148,719. There is $150,000 budgeted from the Street Improvement Fund in fiscal year 2015-2016 for this work. Because this is for a pending project, staff will be requesting formal action at this board meeting tonight. And Your Honor, in the original contract for 2014, it was bid jointly with other communities, and within that contract there was a 4% escalator clause for asphalt, et cetera. And that 4% is much less right now than the actual cost of the asphalt. So it's very advantageous for the village to take advantage of that contract and the 4% escalator. So Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the public in regards to this item? Okay, questions and comments from the board? My question is, the patching that's gonna be done through this project, will it be done similar to what we had done on Summit and some other streets in town that receive, because I noticed there's saw cutting involved, where you take big chunks. It's not just throwing the hot patch, for example, in there, the cold patch. So is that kind of what we're talking about here?
Your Honor, I think Director Diskels loves coming to that
He
microphone.
just hopped up out of his chair like that. Here he is.
He needs to get
Thank
his steps
you.
in.
Sit right there.
Contract is using the same specifications. So yes, the work will be identical to what we saw on Summit and on Park Boulevard and various other streets that were patched through that contract last year.
Okay, and then we will post the streets that are gonna be patched. 'Cause I know there's a number of residents out there hoping that their street will be done, because there's waiting period before they get to the.
90% completed, and once we finish those, we will post on those.
Okay, fabulous. All right. Any other questions? I think we're good. Okay, roll call vote, please. Thank you.
Trustee Aiello,
Yes.
trustee Taglia,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Wolfus.
Yes.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
President Bowico.
Yes. Okay, item number 12 on the committee of the whole. Consider resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing agreements with benefit providers. Manager King?
Thank you, Your Honor. The Village of Villa Park provides insurance coverage for their employees, retirees, and other covered employees that renews on July 1, 2015. After a thorough renewal pricing examination and negotiation by our insurance broker, the Horton Group, staff recommends the following contract: that the health insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, containing a 3% rate increase for an estimated total cost of $2.85 million. The village cost after the employee shares would be $2.01 million. Dental plan administration with Delta Dental contains a 6% rate increase for an estimated total cost of $141,701, with a final cost to the village of $46,870 after cost sharing with the employees. Wellness program biometric screenings by CHC Wellness. This is a new program. Estimated village cost $4,000. Wellness program fitness tracking program by Virgin Pulse. This is also a new program. Estimated village cost of $7,852. There are no changes to the life insurance, which is provided by Fort Dearborn Life. Vision, which is provided by Vision Service Plan. Employee Assistance Program, which is provided by Elmhurst Hospital Guidance Center. Flexible Spending Program, which is provided by WageWorks. And COBRA Administration, which is provided by LEX Perspectives. The fiscal year 2015-2016 budget includes funding for these benefit programs. The village cost of the benefit package is approximately 3.6% increase over last year. And Your Honor and Board and folks here and folks at home, the 3.6% we thought was a very advantageous percentage. It's certainly better than a double-digit increase. The inclusion of the wellness program, we believe, will be advantageous for the employees and the village as well, because we feel that the wellness program will enable the employee to become familiar with their wellness and participate in these programs to become more healthy and become more aware of their health, so that their health can be improved prior to an event, if you will. So I'm not sure, Your Honor, if we'd like to introduce Human Resource Manager Janet Gorman to expound on my comments.
I think the microphone's working, so Al did the swap out, so.
Yeah, maybe just a few highlights this year. We went with a new brokerage firm called the Horton Group. We had gone out to bid in the fall, and we decided to go with this particular group. We actually talked to a number of different brokers, but we felt that they had a better grasp on some of the changes that were coming down the line as a part of that Affordable Care Act. and that they also have a lot of resources, which our previous broker did not have, to try and help us to move as quickly as we can towards some medical planning that we know we're going to have to meet certain deadlines under the Affordable Care Act, but also that would really benefit the village. So I think that that's been a really a good marriage for us, and we've met with them on several occasions now. They have a lot of great ideas moving forward. We just really feel like this is a direction that we want to start getting people much more involved in their own health and their health dollars, because suddenly those health dollars under the Affordable Care Act, everybody is now paying attention to it. That's still we have a lot of moving parts in the Affordable Care Act, and I think we move forward as a broker and many other employers with some information from the federal government, but not always a whole lot of guidance. This year there are a few things that we have to do. We did have to address the full-time employee equivalent, which we have. We will have to be issuing each of our employees an IRS mandated reporting similar to a W-2 that the Blue Cross Blue Shield will be providing our employees. We have grappled with this, are we grandfathered or not grandfathered? And that's something that we also are now looking at in terms of our collective bargaining. So along with that, though, we felt that a real positive step would be to move into the wellness arena. And by doing that, really start to engage our employees. So we do have a committee formed. There are members of each department that are, and each union actually, that are members of this committee. And we've met, I don't know, a number of times starting in January. We've already had one wellness event where we've had individuals come forward and have some biometric testing. And now we're hoping to kick off by June, hopefully a few people maybe sooner, getting into the Virgin Pulse program. So again, I've been very pleased with what Horton has provided us and the guidance. And we just really hope to continue to move forward in a more positive direction. And, that's kind of where we're at. So,
Expansion of the wellness program is definitely good news.
yes.
Long time coming, so. Okay. Questions and comments from the public, though, first. See if anybody has any questions about this. We'll kick it up here soon. Nope. Okay. Trustee Case, you're on.
Is this done on the clock?
Our wellness program meetings are on the clock, but the actual wellness program is something that the employee will engage in on their own. They'll just be able to, there's a tracking system that they'll be able to be involved with.
How long is the session?
How long is the what?
The session, when you're on the clock?
How long we do it for our planning when we sit down with the committee? It's about an hour, but we've only met a couple of times so far. So, and we've had people who have come in that they're engaged enough that even when they're not on duty, they'll come in just to be able to participate. So, we've had a very good response, I think, from the committee.
Good? Is it case? Okay. All right. Anybody else from the board? Questions about this? Okay. Gonna do a roll call vote. Thank you.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes?
Trustee Aiello?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Bowen?
Yes. Okay. We'll convene to the formal agenda. Again with the COW. Okay. Item number 1 on the formal agenda. Got a couple proclamations to kind of kick us off here. First one is declaring May 11th through May 16th, 2015 as Police Week. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas members of the law enforcement agency of Villa Park play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Villa Park. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the law enforcement agency of Villa Park unceasingly provide a vital public service, now therefore I, Deborah Bullwinkle, village president of the Village of Villa Park, call upon all citizens of Villa Park and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 11th through 16th, 2015 is Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Villa Park to observe Friday, May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who through their courageous deeds have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Dated this day, April 27th, 2015. Second one is proclamation designating May as Historical Preservation Month. Whereas Pass Forward is a theme for the National Historic Preservation Month 2015, co-sponsored by the Villa Park Historical Preservation Commission and the Village of Villa Park, that celebrates and honors the past while looking forward toward the next 50 years. And whereas the Village of Villa Park recognizes and is proud to have 2 National Register properties, over 68 buildings that have been historically recognized, and 2 locally designated historic landmark business districts, and whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping to preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped the Village of Villa Park and us as a people. And whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth, sustaining development, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. And whereas historic preservation encourages community reinvestment, saving resources, and promoting socially, culturally, and economically rich communities. And whereas historic preservation is inherently economically, environmentally, and socially sustainable, fostering a culture of reuse and maximizing the life cycle of all resources through conservation. Now therefore I, Deborah Bullwinkle, do recognize May 2015 as National Historic Preservation Month and proclaim May 2015 as Villa Park Historic Preservation Month and call upon the people of Villa Park to join their fellow citizens across the United States in recognizing and participating in this special observance. Villa Park's Historical Plaques Awards will be presented at the Village Board meeting on June 8th. Dated this day, April 27th, 2015. Just got a couple more things on my list here. Manager Keener, I was wondering if you have any updates in regards to the safe zones that we've talked about, where folks in Villa Park who might order something on Craigslist, for example, if they want to find a safe place to do the transaction. We talked about maybe identifying a location at our police department. And this is kind of a trend throughout municipalities, so I'm just wondering for an update.
Yes, actually, we've identified the lobby of the police station as the safe zone. So
Okay.
folks are more than welcome to meet in the lobby of the police station if they'd like to exchange the funds for the item.
Okay, so now that we have this pinned down, can we put this out maybe on Facebook or post some information for those that don't have access to the internet? Okay, we'll get the word out there. This is something that staff's been working on for a while, so I appreciate you identifying that. That's good. Make you feel a little safer doing these transactions. Okay, also, we talked a little earlier about open burns, and we also have some issues with fire pits, and we just got our brand new village newsletter for spring 2015, and on page 7, there's an article about burning yard waste and outdoor fireplaces. We've gotten a number of concerns and complaints from the residents in regards to various things that are being burned in fire pits and also some open burning. So we want to make sure that you pay attention to the article. It's on page 7, something we publish fairly often, about this time every year, but you know, we're keeping an eye on that. I think the fire department's gone on a few calls. Speaking of fire department, I think they're getting a call right now. Talk about timing. But so basically, just kind of be aware of things like that, and don't put furniture and other items in your fire pit. It's not a good thing. So. And I mentioned the newsletter, like I said, it just hit today. If you didn't get it today, it should be there by tomorrow. Is that correct? No. So it's the spring issue, so make sure you take a look. There's a lot of information in here for the residents, and it's dropped off at every single residence in Villa Park. So do the businesses receive this too, though? I've gotten some questions about that.
Yes.
Do they? Definitely? Okay, and also the businesses receive it. Great. That's wonderful. Okay. And then also just wanted to mention that today I attended a press conference that was pulled together by the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference at the Thompson Center in Chicago. This was in regards to the Local Government Distributive Fund, LGDF. We're continuing to monitor that, and we've talked earlier that if this happens to go through, it would cost the Villa Park about $1.1 million a year. That would be kind of set in stone, an annual thing. So a number of mayors and other elected officials and city administrators, village administrators came together and just kind of conveyed concerns, but also understanding that we know that a balanced budget needs to be achieved, but if we can lessen the burden on the municipalities, because in Villa Park's case, $1.1 million is a lot of money, and so we're staying on top of that issue. And I wanted to mention that there are resources for residents if you want to plug in and learn more about it. There's a toolkit that's been put together that you can find at www.protectmytown.com, www.protectmytown.com. There's also a video on YouTube, so if you Google LGDF, it'll come up. Or if you would like more information, you don't have access to the internet for whatever reason, or for some reason just can't get to that website, you can call me at 630-834-5032 or staff at 630-592-6052, and we can help kind of plug you in so you can stay on top of this fluid issue. So. Also, we participated in a ribbon cutting at Landings on Villa, the new building on Villa Avenue, across from Mike's Meat Market. They've been in business, if you will, for a while, but they had staff and other members of the community and their staff and folks come together to kind of officially open themselves up to the community. They're pretty much full at this point. They're transitional housing for people with variety of different disabilities. So we had a nice time out there, and it was nice to be able to come by and say hello to the staff there. And it's a very nice event, and they're very pleased and happy to be a part of Villa Park. So also, Coffee with the Board is coming up on Saturday, May 2nd, this Saturday, if you can believe it, at 9 a.m. here at Village Hall, an informal environment to come and talk to your board members over coffee and some donuts. So come on by if you don't have anything else to do on Saturday morning. And then also, on Monday, May 11th, we have our swearing-in ceremony for our newly elected officials. We recently had an election, and our incumbents, Trustees Bolfus, Case, and Aiello, will be sworn in along with Trustee-elect Nick Cazone, who's here with us in the audience today. You may not be able to see him on TV, but just looking forward to you joining our board as well. He'll be taking over John Davis's seat at the very end, so soon Trustee Wagner won't be all by himself down there at the very end there. He'll have somebody else to sit next to. So anyway, we're going to do the swearing in on Monday, May 11th here at Village Hall. We'll take care of some old business. We'll kick into some new business and bring the new board and get you all sworn in, and then we'll probably do a couple little things, and then we'll head out to the golf course and do a nice little welcoming reception, if you will, with our elected officials, starting a new era, a new board. So please come on out. Everybody's invited, so come on out and join us that night on Monday, May 11th. Okay, that's all that I had on my report. So item number 2 then is public comments on agenda items. This is regarding items 4 and 5 on the formal. So if you have anything on your mind in regards to items 4 and 5, public comments on agenda items. Now's your chance. Otherwise, an opportunity for non-agenda items will come at item number 6 on the agenda. So, okay? You think? You guys okay about down there?
Good.
Okay. We got a hot mic, we can hear you. Okay. All right, if that's it. Then we've got item number 3, amendments to the agenda.
Madam President, just a
Formal, yes.
point of information, do we need to formally remove item 5?
Yes, because that, yes.
I'd like to make
We
a
had-
motion
well,
to,
What do we do? That's
Five
native
is
planning.
assessed.
Yeah.
It's not on the consent agenda. When that comes up, it
We'll
should be
just-
tabled.
Table it? How can we table something that we didn't push
Because
on?
it's on the agenda.
Oh, so we just can't remove it?
The proper way is to table it. If you remove it, it's the same result, and I'm not going to play Robert's rule.
Okay.
So,
I wanna play
Tabling
Robert's
means it will
rules.
come back, you know. Removing
Are we
it could mean
supposed
it could be gone forever or
No.
for some amount of time,
They
but
was like,
tabling's a
no.
little more finite, so.
they just like to give us a hard time.
I guess so. So we're gonna leave it be until we get to item number 5, right?
I'm not
Period.
voting
Is
on
that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's not going to vote on it. He'll show us.
Oh, okay. Perfectly fine. Anything else, though, in regards to amendments to the formal agenda that's pertinent at this point? Okay. We're going to move on to item number 4, the consent agenda, A through M. There's a lot, but I'm going to just read the headings for the record. Just bear with me. Letter A, bill listing dated April 27th, 2015, 1 of 2, in the amount of $454,706.83. B, bill listing dated April 27th, 2015, 2 of 2, in the amount of $266,877.28. C, minutes from the village COW meeting for April 13th, 2015. D, minutes from the village formal board meeting for April 13th, 2015. E, second reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the security deposit requirements for utility customers and clarifying the billing procedures for water and sewage services. F, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a local agency agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, for construction and construction engineering services for the Ardmore Avenue Streetscape project. G, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering agreement with V3 companies to provide construction engineering services for the Ardmore Avenue Streetscape project. H, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing change order number 2, which is final, to the contract between the Village and Builders Paving LLC, doing business as Hardin Paving Services, for the 2014 pavement patching and resurfacing program. I, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the Village and School District 45 for classrooms at the Iowa Community Center in the amount of $26,000. J, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a preliminary engineering services agreement between the Village and V3 Companies of Illinois Limited for the St. Charles Road Rehabilitation Project. K, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing a contract with John Neri Construction Company Incorporated, Addison, Illinois, for the 2015 North Avenue Townhomes Lift Station Project. L, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing agreements with benefit providers. And that is it then. One more?
M.
Okay. Letter M. All bowling together here. M, resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a contract for the 2015 pavement patching and resurfacing program with Builder Pavers LLC. Motion on the consent agenda? Long one.
Madam President, make a
Okay.
motion for the consent
Table
agenda.
this Second.
Madam President.
Trustee
Second.
Ayala. Okay. Any other additional questions or comments? We good? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
yes,
President Bullwinkle?
Yes, okay, item number 5.
Madam President,
Okay.
I'd like-
This is in regards to native plantings.
I'd like to make a motion to table number 5,
Okay.
item number 5.
Do we have a second?
Madam President?
Yes, okay. Yep.
I will second
I
that.
thought you might want to do that. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I'm good? Okay,
Just do a roll call.
Roll call
Just
vote.
do a voice vote, then we won't know.
We're going to do a roll call vote. For the record.
Okay. Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Bolfus?
Yes.
Keeping us in suspense here.
Trustee Case?
Hot topic
Yes.
tonight.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
President Bullwinkle?
Yes, okay, that one was a lot easier. Okay, item number 6, okay, public comments on non-agenda items now. If anybody, we have a few folks here in the audience, have anything on non-agenda items? Come on up to the podium, we think we've got the mic situation figured out. No pen, did we lose it? Got an extra one, okay. Great.
I'm Anita LaPianca. My family owns several properties at the North Avenue Townhomes on the north side of Villa Park. And I'm here to make a plea for an adequate police presence. It's getting outrageous up there. You can't even be there at nighttime. 2 weeks ago, on the 13th, there was a incident where there were 15 to 23 people fighting with knives, bats. It's happening pretty regularly that even the teenagers, even the girls, are having very, very aggressive fights coming home from school. And there just needs to be more police presence. I know the village is trying, but pretty soon somebody's going to be shot there. And I'm pretty sure that's not good for all of Villa Park.
Right. I know we've stepped up foot patrols out there, we've got a gator, but
I
we
agree.
hear ya, and
There's more of a
yeah.
presence, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
I mean, it's out of control. It's like something on the south side of Chicago. I grew up in Villa Park. It's unbelievable that this is a town in DuPage County.
We'll absolutely take a closer look, and maybe, I don't know if the manager would like to mention anything. I don't think we have anybody from the police department here tonight, so that could speak to that as well. But it's definitely on our radar, and we will step up whatever we can step up to.
I actually think more
We know.
resources need to be put in the police department because clearly there's not enough guys that are available to help out in that area. I mean, Villa Park is pretty wide, right, from Roosevelt to North Avenue, and I know a lot of them are at Walmart doing the shoplifting, and a lot of them are doing the traffic, and that really doesn't leave any guys available for actual crimes that are being committed. At nighttime, it's not really safe to even walk between the buildings. And I know it's a cultural issue that's becoming bigger and bigger with subsidized housing, but a primary government function is to provide police safety and to other members of the community. So I'm begging to have a more adequate police presence there. And if that means devoting more financial resources to the police department, then that's what needs to be done, because Villa Park's never going to change its image if you're having knifings and shootings on the north side of town, which is not happening in most other towns in DuPage County. Maybe West Chicago, but
Unfortunately, every municipality has their level of issues, but I hear you.
Not,
what you're-
I mean,
but I
it's-
hear what you're saying
it's
about the North
like
Avenue townhomes.
the south side of Chicago.
We're very, very painfully aware of what's going on out there, and I don't know if the manager would like to add anything to that, but anything we can tell you to reassure you, but I definitely hear your concerns, for sure. So,
Thank you, Aaron. And for the board residents and residents at home, we're talking about the North Avenue townhomes on North Avenue. The police department has increased their activity in that particular area. It's increased its part-time patrol officer hours and has spent quite an amount of its resources in that particular area. And as President Bullwinkle mentioned, we've increased foot patrols, we've increased the use of the gator. And the gator, if you're not familiar with that, can go up 40 to 45 miles an hour and can certainly go in between the buildings much easier than a human on his running or chasing after someone. In fact, on Friday, there was a burglary there, and our part-timers were on the scene and actually caught the individual near a school and recovered all of the materials that were taken. We have done a number of things in that particular area, supporting the residents, including helping them fix the potholes in their back parking lot, if you will, also securing the fence, putting up cameras. We're doing several other things I can't talk about on camera. but we are supporting the residents in that particular area. And we all recognize that there's an issue in that particular area, otherwise we wouldn't be spending our dear resources just in that 3-block area. And we are redoing the lift station in that particular area to help them out, and that's $530,000 through a grant. So we are paying attention to that area, and we do need the residents to cooperate, maybe by trimming the landscaping so we can see in there, maybe adding more lights. We're taking a look at adding lights in the front of the property along with some cameras. However, the lights right now point towards North Avenue and not on the inside towards the roadway and buildings. So we are going to seek some residents' permission possibly to mount some lights or cameras. Also, additionally, we're taking a look at the parking issue on the frontage road, because our emergency vehicles have a very difficult time going through that particular frontage road because there's parked cars on both sides. And last time there was an emergency there, our fire truck had a very difficult time. So we are taking a look at actually removing some of the parking there. So thank you.
But we'll definitely re-examine. Yeah, wait, I need you back up in the mic really quick, yeah.
We've definitely seen the efforts that the village is making and appreciate that. But I just think that the only way to solve the criminal problem is a greater police presence. That's the only way. There's such huge numbers of the criminal element that the walkthroughs, for example, walkthroughs happen at about 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3:30. In the summertime, they're a little more active in the evening, but 9 a.m., none of the criminal element is up. Usually at 1 o'clock, they're still not up. It's usually about 2 p.m. that they start making their liquor runs, and that's when it starts getting up. And there's no way that this problem is just going to be solved by cameras. There has to be a bigger police presence. And I agree with you. The people that reside there are don't see, don't hear, don't speak. And I know you can't change that, but I think once they start seeing more police presence, that they'll feel a little more comfortable about speaking up. Because supposedly nobody even saw the 20-person fight, which is amazing to me. And I mean, how can you tag an entire complex and nobody sees it? But really, I think the effort has to be made to put money into having a greater police presence.
We'll definitely re-examine that for sure
Okay.
and see if there's anything else we can do.
Thank you.
The manager would like to add something else to it.
And actually, we also have the crime-free program that's been very helpful in that particular area, but that also demands the adherence to the program and the property owners to participate in that particular lease and removal of those folks, and that's helped us several times. In fact, with the incident that was described a moment ago, I believe we did arrest several individuals, and some of those individuals had no gang contact and landed themselves back in jail. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, we'll keep chipping away at that rock, though. Yep, and we'll go back and re-examine that as well. Thank you for that. Okay, anybody else from the public on non-agenda items? Need you to state your name for the record and sign your name up there, too.
Yes, my name is Rebecca Martin. I live on North 2nd Avenue in Villa Park. And maybe I can get some assistance from you, or maybe where else I can go in the efforts to get a dead tree removed from my parkway that has been there for 2 years. Okay. I have gone on this more aggressive in this past year because huge branches are falling, and they are falling on the sidewalk, and they are falling in the street in front of my house. And I'm starting to get problems with the neighbors. Like, what am I doing?
Okay.
What am I not doing?
Well,
after several calls, I'm not getting any help.
well, I'm looking over at our Director of Public Works, and you want to get with Vitas Jascalis, you can give them your address, and they will go out and they'll check that out as soon as they can get out there, so.
Well, apparently they've been out several times checking the deterioration of the tree every time I call.
Yeah, but it needs to, sounds like it needs to get on.
Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, so, we've got Vitas right
I will
back
do
there,
that.
he's looking at me saying, get together.
Thank
So
you.
yes, so absolutely. Thank you. Anybody else on non-agenda items?
Cut down 100 to trees.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 7 then, on the formal village clerk's report.
I just wanted to bring 2 items to the attention of the senior community, and one is the senior fair on May 7th, and the other is the SALT meeting on May 13th. Both of the ones, first one's on Thursday, second one's on Wednesday, 11 a.m., and both are the same place, Community Recreation Building. And that's all. Thank you.
You said SALT on May 13th?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, village trustees report. I'll start to my right. Trustee Bolfus.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Trustee Tagley, anything?
Yes, I have a report from the Senior Concerns Commission. They will be holding a senior fair on May 7th, which is a Thursday, from 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. And then again, that'll be at the Community Recreation Building at 320 East Wildwood. There will be many agencies there providing information and services for the seniors. The Lions Club will be there doing vision screening, so you come on out, get your eyes checked. The Villa Park Fire Department paramedics will be there. They'll be doing free blood pressure testing, so come on out, get your blood pressure tested. Jewel Osco will be there, and the pharmacy will provide shingles and tetanus shots.
Wow.
And we'll also review your medications, so if you have any questions or concerns about the medications you're taking, bring them. They will help you answer any questions or concerns you're having with that. So I want to, again, thank our clerk for her tremendous efforts with the Senior Concerns Commission. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I am the liaison to the commission. My number is out there, but in case you need it, my home number is 630-617-8790. And you can always reach me on my cell at 847-452-6473. So come on out and enjoy the fair. That's it.
Did you say it was free?
Yep,
Free fair.
it's a free fair.
Lots going on there. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Trustee Case, anything?
Speaking in behalf of the residents in an area in Villa Park, we had a little situation, and the Villa Park Police did an outstanding job by taking care of the problem. I will not discuss the area, but I wanted to say thank you to the police department and I think Manager Junior for the one that got the ball really rolling on it. So nice job. And I know North Avenue is a problem, but the police can't be everywhere. But at least we're taking care of some problems. But it was a nice job. So that's it.
We're focusing on, we have some hot spots in town, so doing everything we can to take care of it. Thank you, Trustee Case. Okay, Trustee Wagner.
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple things. I just want to let residents know that the Mama Squash Food Co-op is going to have a member meeting. At this may be their first member meeting on Sunday, May 17th, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Villa Park Public Library. And I know that they're moving along very well, and they're getting a lot of assistance from staff, and so I would encourage people to look into their Facebook page, they have a website, and to kind of investigate that. Just want to extend my thanks to the Village Pride Commission. They organized our local effort to clean the Great Western Trail and the Prairie Path, and on a kind of a cold and dreary day, thanks to those folks that came out and did a cleanup. Since we have members of the Garden Club here tonight, I think they're having a plant sale on May 8th and 9th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's at the Community Rec Building?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And also want to mention that our local effort for Stream Sweep, which is a Conservation Foundation program, is going to be on Saturday, May 16th from 9 a.m. to noon, and the gathering point for that is at the Cricket Creek Forest Preserve off of Fullerton Avenue. And that's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. Trustee Ayala?
Nothing tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Okay, village attorney's report.
No report.
No report? Okay. Moving on to. Oh, I'm sorry, manager report. I'm so sorry. He was hoping he was gonna be.
He's got a good one.
I'm looking at the bottom of the agenda here. I'm sorry, yeah. He was probably hoping.
Oh, I was passing tonight, Your Honor.
Were you gonna pass tonight? Alrighty then. Usually has something, but okay, we'll pass tonight. Okay. Thank you. You contributed a lot tonight, so appreciate that. Then we'll move on to item number 11. Consider executive session, A5ILCS 120-2, C1, personnel matters and collective bargaining. B5ILCS 120-2, C5, purchase or lease of property. C5ILCS 120-2, C6, sale or lease of property. D5ILCS 120-2, C11, pending litigation. E5ILCS 120-2, C21, discussion of closed session minutes. And F5ILCS 120-2, C28, meetings between internal or external auditors and governmental audit committees, finance committees, and their equivalents. The motion for exec session.
Madam President,
Trustee Wagner.
I'd like to make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Madam President,
Trustee
second.
Willis. Okay. Roll call vote.
Trustee Wolfus?
Yes.
Trustee Taglia?
Yes.
Trustee Ayello?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Wolf?
Yes. Okay. We're going to convene to exec session. We'll adjourn following executive session. Our next board meeting is Monday, May 11th, 7:30 here at Village Hall. That's when we're going to be swearing in our new board. So try to be here with us. And thanks, Villa Park. See you later.